Hello, everyone, and welcome to the third season of Facecheck covering the greatest league in all of the land. It is your boy Degon here with Dom and LS to cover the LCS. We just had the first week, the episode of 2021 open up here with the Lock-In tournament, the brand new tournament here. Guys, it's been a long off season. It's been a whole bunch of item changes. We had Dom adulting and buying a house. We have LS going through the torturous hells of the internet and then eventually landing at his new home. How are y'all doing? Dom, you go first since LS is eating.
Well, I'm in a fucking subway because I have no mic set up. I'm off a laptop right now. I have pillows as my fucking sound mufflers here. I had to buy a new camera. I bought a cheap monitor that's only 60 hertz because I was only going to use it to watch LCS for one weekend. So yeah, I mean, it's been pretty good. Pretty much everything you see in my room behind me, that's all I have right now to work with right now. That's all I got.
And the pillow. Good. Show everyone the pillow that you're using for sound absorption.
I have two of them. This is what I use.
That's really good. That's Dyrus the pillow.
Back to the humble beginnings. LS, how you been, man?
I've been good. I've been streaming a lot this month. Hundreds of hours is what it's looking like. I don't know. I just have so much free time not casting. So I'm just streaming a lot, and that's pretty much it. But I think you captured it well. The hells of the internet. I think November 2020 will easily go down as the worst month that I can recall since I was like homeless. It was a bad month.
That's great.
I'm sorry it's been pretty crap. I mean, what are the big takeaways from going through that, right? Like with people just can you explain what it was, what happened, other than vitriol on the internet?
So I was getting DMs on everything. I was being doxxed. Others were being doxxed. Now, obviously, it's not too hard to find personal information about people that live on the internet, right? But obviously, it was very scary. It was very unsettling, and I just did the thing, and I was only talking to a handful of people. And obviously, I'm someone that deals with different mental illnesses, anxiety, and dysthymia. And so stuff was just really dark because I was living in like a box, pretty much, like a really small Korean apartment. And I would go into T1, and everyone at T1 was great. Like the staff, the CO, the COO, everyone was fantastic. But it was just this really turbulent, dark plane ride of a month where everything was just going up and down, and then I was having to make a choice and what did I want to do and how different things, and everything was really bad. And then I came back in December, I was sort of taking it easy. I moved back to Incheon where I'm at now, and then I started grinding again, and then solo queue I don't know how NA's been, but it's something. It was definitely something, and that's why you need to use Blitz GG.
Dude, let me just tell you, man. If you think whenever people complain about Korea or EU having shit quality solo queue, multiply it by 5 or 10 times, and that's what NA is. I literally just couldn't even play the game.
No, so okay, I gave the analogy on stream yesterday. Okay, imagine you're in some area, okay, where there is no law. Okay, and everyone is toxic and full of thieves and gangs, and everyone's just gonna murder you, and you can't sleep at night without someone staying awake. Okay, that's Korean solo queue, and then NA solo queue is like walking into Walmart in America right now during Corona. Okay, you're gonna have some of the fucking dumbest people telling you that you can and can't say certain things and all this other nonsense. That's the differences right now between the solo queues, I think.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty fucked up. I mean, I was gonna ask you all that stuff you dealt with in November. You left out the biggest one, which was Boris taking over. So how did you deal with that, man? That's really what I want to know about.
Boris got tired of being made fun of and just revamped the whole damn game.
I feel like the item rework is a failure. I've considered like making a video on this. Normally, when Riot does the changes, like plants or like
Dragon, Baron,
Dragon, stuff like that, I actually normally come to like it, but and normally I come to like it actually pretty quickly, or I just like it outright. The items are something I just can't get behind. I feel like they dumbed down itemization, they reduced skill expression through itemization, and they made stuff so bland. And I also feel like what they were going for with ability haste doesn't exist, because in order to get like over 45% CDR,
5 items.
yeah, you have to have like 6 items, and then it's like the champion's correct build path anyway. Do you know what I mean? Like it's not actually special. I feel like what Riot should have been trying to go for with ability haste is saying, hey, you can forego power of just like, AP or AD or something in exchange for getting your cooldowns up more often, so that if you're a champion with a lot of base level and base value, you can get insane, utility maybe, right? Like that's what ability haste should have been. Should have been able to get like 150, 200 ability haste, like somehow, right? And just have really crappy stats or like power. Riot didn't do that. It's really, really hard to get 45, 50% CDR now on champions. So I feel like that's a failure. When you're building AP items or just items in general, it's all the same build paths, pretty much always. And legendary item like recipe components don't really feel different or special. I don't know. Everything just feels bland. It sucks, I think.
Yeah.
Well, for me, outside of just the game portion of it, I feel like the average viewer doesn't like the idea that it feels so foreign, and the way that all the items look. Like I don't know why I'm coughing all of a sudden, but I can't get behind the artwork and everything. It feels like all the items don't really feel like League items anymore, and because of that, it feels like when the average viewer is coming in, or if like you don't play anymore, it's so overwhelming that people don't even want to deal with it. They're like, fucking, you know what? I'm just gonna like not play League right now because I don't know what the fuck I'm supposed to build. Nothing feels the same. Nothing looks the same. It's harder for people to identify what's going on in different people's build paths, what builds into what. But yeah, I just think that in general, it's pretty rough.
And it is pretty interesting because, right, they did try to make the shop easier with like the main item there, 1, 2, 3, and then it's like why it's being offered. But for me, I just feel slowed down as a guy that knows like what I want to build or how to build or the idea of what I can build. And yeah, like items have just been pretty confusing so far. Riot has a tolerance for how much they're willing to attempt new things before reverting back. And I feel like this is the big one that they're doing this year. So therefore, I'm just going to have to deal with it and enjoy your Omnivamp or your ability haste for now. But it just... I like the fact that they challenged a core tenet of what the game was. It just doesn't feel like great yet. Because as an AD carry, I'm just like, everything kills me. If we reach a certain timer in the game, I'm good. But before that, I'm literally not dealing damage. My job is to stay alive, not deal damage anymore. And it doesn't feel great. Anything can kill me. A support can kill me. Here's Nautilus. Oh, boop, 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 ignite. Okay, I'm dead. We're level 3 or 5 or whatever it is. It just sucks. But yeah, let's hop on into the LCS. The reason why everyone's here. Before we do, we have a quick announcement for a sponsor. Yes, we got a sponsor. It is Venn, the video game entertainment news network. It's Venn eSports. That is where the VOD is going to live. Dom, do you want to explain this to our viewers a little bit here?
Yeah. So pretty much we are sponsored by Venn. The VOD will no longer be on my YouTube; it'll be on theirs. And there's a lot of different stuff. I mean, Degon, you got the clip for the stream. You got like the 1 minute thing. Yeah, I showed my stream. There's gonna be like animations and stuff that we have budget for now. The core of Facecheck is gonna be the exact same. Like we're not gonna have like long sponsor shout outs. This is just pretty much to give awareness to where we're gonna be. But essentially, it just gives us more budget for graphics. We're going to be potentially able to hire producers, so we don't have this type of issue with like lagging and things like that. Have these animated like 1 to 1 minute like comics that we can do for the show, as well as just like having other people to help us with potentially creative ideas and things like that. So I'm pretty excited to actually have this show be a little bit more professional. This first week is just a transition phase. I mean, obviously, I don't even have a good mic.
Yeah, Dom's literally transitioning his life right now.
yeah. It's kind of shitty in that regard. But going forward, I think it will just give us a much higher bar for what we can turn Facecheck into. So I'm excited to see what we can do with this. We can make it like the best esports show, period.
Yeah. And I've got that animation up and ready to go. If you guys want to take a look, take a listen to our first episode here. We're still trying to figure out a title. So if any of you challengers in the chat are creative and got a title for it, then shoot it over to me. Send it over in my DMs. Here we go. Hey Grayson, now that we're retired and OCE players count as NA players, I wonder what the LCS is going to look like.
All right.
Finally, we've made it out of Academy for 3 years.
Oh boy, I can't wait for people to watch us.
Yeah, feels good to get some native NA talent in the LCS. Am I right?
I love stags, dogs, hot dogs.
Yeah, freedom units are the best. Did you know the bald eagle's name isn't actually because they're bald, but it comes from the Old English word that meant white? Wait a second, Fudge. Does your thermometer only have Celsius units? Are you even?
Blam!
Hey, what are you trying to say, rookies? Guys. It's not about where you're born at. It's where your heart is.
I love NA.
My bad, everyone. I muted my mic. Basically, it was saying, if you have more ideas like that, let me know. There will be other pieces of content on the LCS and the League of Legends as a whole and esports as a whole. We have a piece about Wild Turtle killing the idea of friendship when he replaced Chaos from the TSM roster. It'll be a lot of fun. You can find every episode of Facecheck and more over on Venn eSports on YouTube. Make sure to subscribe. All right, cool. So got that out of the way. Let's get into the thick of it with the cool transition. Plowgraves, get us into the LCS. All right, LCS is back, baby. Week 1 in the books. New format, new players, same CLG. They're already out. Man, thank goodness one of us isn't sponsored by them anymore. Group B, though, a little bit closer, though. EG on top. What are our big takeaways here from week 1 of the Lock-In tournament, LS?
So I mean, from all the games that I watched, I was really disappointed. This is the first time that I watched NA, and it didn't feel like I was watching a major region that was like struggling. It just actually felt like I was watching a wildcard region. It felt really weird.
Yeah, I know, dude.
It felt really weird. The level of play, the lack of innovation, just things that teams were doing, it was like watching insanity. And I'm not talking about the player. Like,
it's good. LS 2 for 2 already.
You know, I mean, this was really rough opening.
I mean, for me, the way I see it is, how can you actually expect these teams to play at a decent level when half of them haven't been scrimming and like almost every team is playing with fucking subs? Or like we got 4
That's
of the teams
true too. That
subs.
is true too. Yeah.
So it feels like this tournament would have been a good idea if we weren't in the middle of Corona, but because it's so hard to get people here on time, like I know for a fact C9 didn't start scrimming. Like Sven got here actually even later than Perkz. He didn't even start playing his first set until like the 4th or the 5th. That's when he started playing the games. So if he's not playing until then, and a tournament is starting on the 15th, like how are they going to develop anything? Yeah. Also, like a lot of the people aren't even here, right? Like you look at TL, they're supposed to be one of the best teams. Santorin's not here. He's one of the core parts of their roster. Immortals is playing with 3 subs. Xerxes, Raze, Destiny, all not here. We have FlyQuest missing Jose Diodo. Not sure like how much that's going to affect things, but like I don't know. It just feels like this is the most raw we've ever got to see teams, and I guess that's kind of why it's a lock-in tournament and it doesn't actually count for anything. It's because of all these problems they had and because of the early start date.
Well, I mean, I feel like that's concerning, right? So if we're saying that it's very raw, I would still expect higher quality out of like LPL or LCK teams that are using their subs. In fact,
Sure.
I mean, we did see it several times when people had to use subs or when they just used interchangeable rosters. So, like, what's concerning to me is, like, what is it, right? It's CLG, right?
Yeah.
The team with 5 veterans, right? They have 5 veterans, and
Yeah.
they look like a chicken with its head cut off. Like, it's
Yeah.
just there's no real excuse. I mean, I'm not a really big believer in like, okay, there's team synergy, but then there's baseline gameplay understanding, and that's what I'm mostly addressing when I say that stuff just looks really bad. So we myself and Nemesis were co-streaming all the games. Out of all of the laning phases or all the games that we watched on stream, I think that there was only 3 or 4 games where it felt like a laner didn't completely fumble their laning phase before wave 4. Which is just that's just mind-blowing. That is a mind-blowing number to consider. It's so terrible. But it feels like there's so much randomness going on. And then also, I mean, we're going to get into this later. I feel like the narratives that are being made right now aren't lining up with reality, but then I don't know why narratives that probably should be getting made aren't being made. And that's another thing that's like really weird.
I mean, like what?
Like, for instance, there's a lot of people are talking about Deftly right now.
Mhm.
I don't understand how or why. Or what are people looking at in the games? I don't know.
What?
I went back and I watched all of Deftly's kills and assists that he would get, as well as like his deaths, and I just don't even understand. What are people looking at when they attribute him to doing anything, right? But then Revenge and Niles in top lane are
Revenge
two of the
is-
players
they
that are
play
actually
so well.
having the
They're playing so
cleanest.
well.
Huh? What?
I think both of those players are playing really well for like what.
Yeah, they're
you'd
they're both
expect.
playing really, really well, and I feel like those two players should be highlight narratives right now, like in the scene or like on the broadcast and all this other stuff. But somehow we're arriving with like Deftly having a narrative, and I
It's when-
am at a
it's-
complete loss.
It's wins and losses, man. Like the two teams that we're seeing are like 2 and 4, right? Like
Yeah.
that's their combined record. Where EG's 3-0, and I think it's also because of like what the community backlash was towards Deftly. I know Digon is gonna fucking lose his mind here,
I'm
but
losing
Here we
my
go.
fucking
everyone just thought that Deftly was gonna be like complete shit. So when they see him playing like at least decently or not losing the game for his teammates, it's great. I mean, I think that he's played better than I expected, but you also have to consider that he's in a much better situation to succeed than a lot of the other players. The fact that he has Impact and Jizuke pretty much winning every single lane, yeah, it's a lot easier to play.
This is fine, and you know what? I'm going to go ahead, like, I was going to wait for this transition, but, like, I'm the guy that's pushing that narrative. I'm just going to go to this scene now. We'll go back to the other scene in a second. It's fucking Deftly's world, guys. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? My man's was doubted. You guys were like, Deftly's going to be the worst AD carry in the league. He went one-on-one. He said, hey, Uma-chan, welcome to the LCS. 1v1 him 3 times. 3 times. Outplayed his ass.
He's Kaisa,
5
man.
million.
He's Kaisa.
It doesn't
He's
matter.
Kaisa to
He
Yone.
picked Yone. That's mad disrespect. So, like, I will say that at least that first game was hype as fuck for me. It was super hype. Like, how could that not be hype, man?
Dude, I don't know. There was times actually in this game. I actually think his first game was his worst game. From my perspective, there was so many times where I just felt like, okay, you could have ulted there, or like he was indecisive on his timings, right? Because as an AD carry, you have to decide, like, are you going to like continue to go forward and go forward as effectively as possible, or are you going to like, you know, disengage the fight? And there was times where I'm like, okay, he's auto attacking. He could just R and keep on auto attacking, but he would do it like a second late, or he would wait for his Q to be up in order to like R, where if he just R'd immediately and then like Q flash, he would be able to kill somebody. I don't know. I felt like the first game he was kind of like too passive. I think in the other games he played fine, but dude, Impact is just like playing the whole game for everyone. It feels like Impact is just 1v9 so hard that, you know, it's a lot easier to play the game when all your teammates are doing well, and it's just like, oh, Impact's flanking. Okay, I'm gonna go in and follow the guy that just went into 5 people, Gore Breaker, press Q on Renekton, and he's full life, like, while tanking 5 people. It's a lot easier to play the game like that than if you're playing from, you know, like FlyQuest position. If you're Johnson right now and you're like, holy shit, everything is just falling apart around me.
This is true.
No, I agree. I mean, it's easy when, you know, the player of the week is your Renekton top and is 1v5ing, and then you get to clean up. But like
Renekton of the week, man. I love it.
He was the Renekton of the week, wasn't he? But I mean, EG just looked good. I will say one thing that was happening, right? If we're doing results-based analysis, which isn't great, but like Jizuke was pushing the limits a lot and kind of getting caught out a decent amount of time, but there was never a point where it felt like there was major punishment anytime he got caught out. But it was kind of like, why are you getting caught out here?
Yeah. So one thing I wanted to make, because I was thinking about EG as a team, and one point I wanted to make about them is I feel like individually they're good, but it's going to be hard for me to see this team improving because of the players they have, right? Like of course all teams are going to improve, but I'm just saying at the rate that other teams could potentially improve, I see a lot more potential there because of the types of players they have. Jizuke has always been good at what he does, but he's never been the player that you can just be like sticking on Orianna or sticking on like control mages and having him just like farm and take over games late like PoE. He plays side lane well, gets caught a lot in a lot of these mage matchups, and he's able to like normally pressure lanes on his comfortable picks. So for me, he's pretty like one-dimensional in that type of way, or at least he's not as flexible as some other players. Impact is really good at what he does. When Impact is playing Impact champs, he's one of the best top players in the league. If you put Impact, like let's say the meta shifts, or if people do what they did at Worlds and they start banning out Impact and they force him to play things like Camille and like if Silas top becomes a thing, Jax and Fiora and all these other picks, I don't think that he's going to be able to play that as well as other top laners in the league. Like if that becomes the meta, I would much rather have an Alfari on my team than Impact. And then if you look at like Ignar is the guy that we pretty much made fun of last year for being good at what he does, but he was essentially just a Rakan one trick that flanked no matter what. And obviously he can play different champions, but his playstyle seems very straightforward. So when I look at all the pieces of EG, it's hard for me to see them actually being like the best team in 6 months because of the players they have.
I agree with the EG raw. I mean, there was some games that they played already that were complete disasters, right? I believe it's the game against Immortals, right, where mid lane was actually just over, and then they completely blunder the trade, and Jizuke just gets a double. I mean, the game was over in mid lane. If they just play it right, like for the opponent, right? The opponents just win the game, but they played so miserably. It felt like EG, I mean, even in the Cloud9 game, Cloud9 just kept executing everything really bad over and over and over. And for some reason, the game went the way that it did. But like, EG are starting off 3-0, but I whenever I'm watching the games, I don't think to myself like, wow, like this looks like they're like really performing really well. It feels like I'm complaining more so about what the opponents are doing, and I feel like that's never a good sign. And when we talk about TSM, I think this is going to be the same exact thing, where TSM looks insufferably bad right now, but they're getting away with murder. And so
they're 2-1, man. How could they be?
They're
bad
2-1
if they've won 2 games and only lost 1?
True.
They're tied for second. They're the second best team in the league.
You know,
just an NA hater.
That's right.
I will say that El Clasico, that one to me felt like you're putting the nail in the coffin to like have that game feel special anymore. It just is so sad. Yeah, it's just so sad to watch like TSM and CLG. And I know this isn't the CLG roster, but it's just sad.
I wanted to comment on what LS said earlier, because I felt the same way. I had a similar take to looking at CLG and how they play. Because when you look at these players, right, you expect them to be potentially able to be outlaid. Maybe not the best mechanical players, but they should be some of the smartest players like in the league. Like you have so much veterancy on that roster. You have Cobalt and Wild Turtle that have been playing forever, right? And then you have Smoothie, who was considered at one point, like in season 7, season 8, people were talking about him like he was one of the best shot callers in the
He was, yeah.
So you have that. And the laning is actually going okay for them. It's not like Wiggly's just losing games alone for them. The laning is not going horrible in comparison to the teams they're playing against, but then it feels like they are constantly outplayed in every situation. Like, they don't know when they should flank. They're playing Alistar, and the Alistar just feels useless. It's somehow Alistar is like the squishiest champion in the game when Smoothie's playing it. It just feels like they don't actually have good ideas on how to play the game. So that's super worrying, because I don't think that Finn and Broxah are going to come in and be like the fucking masterminds, right? When you think about Finn as a player, Finn is somebody who has potential to be mechanically good, but blunders a lot of things. He's more of a fingers player than a brain player. And Broxah is normally really quiet in terms of the way that he tries to control a team. You know, he tries to just stay within himself, play a comfortable game, and, you know, just go along with whatever the plan is. I don't think that Broxah is going to come in and be like, Pobelter, I need you to fucking rotate here. Like, this is how we're playing the drag fight. Like, let's fucking go. Like, it's not going to be that type of mentality. So I just wonder where this team is going to get the idea of, like, how to play the game. Because if these players already are having, like, issues in pretty simple situations, what's going to happen later on when the other teams improve and the situations become more complex?
I mean, is it a case of just losing confidence like Smoothie? Because like Smoothie is a talker, right? If I look down that roster, the newer roster with Finn and Broxah there, like, is it Smoothie the one that's going to be directing? Is it Turtle? I don't think it's Turtle. I think it has to be Smoothie, and he feels like a confidence player, and CLG's been bad for a year and change now.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like at some point it can't.
I mean,
you can go for it.
Go.
I think you're gonna say. You're gonna say a similar thing to what I'm gonna say. So,
well, I was gonna comment on how, like, when Finn and Broxah come in. I mean, I like Finn, and I think that he's very diligent, and I think he goes out of his way to try to, like, learn things and, like, he looks for ways to, like, up his gameplay, right? However, I don't think he's import level. He's not import level. And I know that there's going to be some people that say, like, there's no such thing as import level. It's just what the teams believe that they need. Well, okay, import should be reserved for, like, a higher tier player, like S tier player, in general, right? I don't think that he's S tier. The other thing is that Broxah managed to look like Evelyn even when all of his lanes are winning. Well, on CLG, all of his lanes are not going to be winning. So rather than looking like Evelyn, he's going to look like a Mumu. And so I think that that's going to be nothing to really, like, look forward to. It just doesn't make any sense.
But he's a pretty nice guy, though. That's my point.
It's just so insane. By the way, it's just what kind of defense is this? I know what you're referencing, right? You're referencing the Reddit thread.
The Reddit thread. Yeah.
I know that
about
you
us.
or me have ever made personal comments, right? It's all just about gameplay.
Never.
It's all just about gameplay. What is going on? Like, what reality is going on? Like, what? But then if anything that we're saying is actually egregious, it should just be able to be pointed out that it's actually just not true. Like, what is happening?
I mean, I don't know. I was really confused by that, because the quotes that, like, I saw people quoting me and you and saying that we said that he was just complete fucking dog shit and, like, doesn't know what the fuck is going on. He's just like saying, like, the R word to it. Like, we never said, like, I never said he was dog shit. I was like, hey, this is the problem with this game. Like, this is, like, what is bad about how he's playing. And somehow that got misconstrued into, like, me, like, personally attacking him and saying that he's, like, a horrible human being, which never said. But
nope.
It is what it is, man. Like, I feel like just he's a really well-liked player because of his PR. So if you ever speak negatively about him, like, you're just the asshole, even if you're just trying to do it in good faith and talk about the game itself. But yeah, I mean, I think that it's not going to help CLG. The people that should be core on this team, like, Finn is going to be a coin flippy type player. There's no way that you can put Finn into LCS and versus the type of people that he's going to be playing against someday, Impact. You're going to have Licorice, who's going to be maybe solid. We're not sure yet. Alfari, and he's suddenly just going to be dicking them every game. There's going to be some games where he plays well, some games that he plays okay.
Yeah.
The Mickey of the top lane.
He's just going to be back and forth, right? Broxah's going to be consistent, but he's not going to be super active. So where is, like, this team going to pick up their wins? It's pretty much just if, like, Wild Turtle can get to the point where he can carry some games late. Or Pope pretty much plays. It, man. Like, but Pobelter hasn't really been making plays, it feels like. I don't really see what plays he's been going for. Like, also, I guess it's champion. I think he played a game with Victor. Yeah. Game with Syndra, probably not his best champions. I know his Victor was good in, like, season 8, but it's season 11 now. So I'm not sure where this team is going to collect their wins when other teams get into form, because I don't know how this team is going to, like, improve that much. Like, where is going to be the driving force behind this team actually winning? Dude, I'm more excited about Golden Guardians than CLG.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm going to say it.
Damn. Here's the thing, though. Also, weirdly enough, CLG playing all their games first, so thankfully they don't have to play next week, right? 1, 2, 3, 4.
They're already out, right?
They're already out, but they already played their single round robin, whereas like FlyQuest gets the bye, which is weird since CLG is the one that has visa issues. Anyway, I like that. I like that take. Let's take a look at Golden Guardians, another team that has a losing record in that Group A, but has looked very good in their games. The Golden Graduates, as Golden Guardians picking up multiple members from Maryville University in Iconic and Niles, along with this brand new roster that Golden Guardians had to rebuild with as they were stolen away by 100 Thieves. So Stixay, the veteran piece there, Newbie, the support from Argentina, I believe that's how they say it. Blaze there with the two Maryville products. What were your guys' takeaway with Golden Guardians in week 1?
The collegiate players look the best, man.
Yeah, they do.
They actually just look the best. I was surprised with Iconic. I only seen him in solo queue, and the problem that I normally expect with solo queue junglers is that the game is so dumbed down in how you actually path in solo queue. They're not going to be able to transition and like be in the right place. But I thought that Iconic's like first 15 minutes was pretty reasonable. Like the things that he was doing, I agreed with in game, and I thought his building was okay. I mean, obviously the team has the issues that you'd expect. They're a bunch of fucking rookies on this team, so they throw in like really horrible ways. But I'd rather have that than what I expected coming in, which was these players would not actually be able to lane versus the better ones. I think Niles' lane phases look pretty good overall. He's been one of the best performing laners. Like even in the matchup versus Alfari, I mean, Alfari fucked up that lane so hard. That GP lane was like, he just walked forward and just auto traded randomly and had to burn his own flash and had to TP. So he lost both sums to Niles for no reason. But you got to give credit where credit is due. I feel like Niles did, show up that game pretty decently. And yeah, so the place that I'm worried is actually about Stixay and Newbie. Go for it.
No, yeah. So I feel like the new collegiate players, or like the new players that are actually entering LCS, I feel like they're in a weird way, right? Now I know that these guys they've been around. Like I see them in various Twitch chats, right? I see them on Twitter. I see them doing things that are like looking for edges, right? And I liken this to like the Smash scene. When new players were trying to break into the upper echelon, and they're like actively looking for any edges or advantages they can get, right? And I feel like this is always the case with younger players, where older players don't try to constantly keep up and look for new things and look for ways to reinvent their gameplay. They get lazy, right? This is actually one of the problems with like burnout in pro esports and whatnot. And then they try to rely on other advantages, whereas like newcomers, they don't really care. Niles and Revenge, I think, are the two best laning top laners right now, just in terms of like lane state control. At least from the 3 games that we've played, right? Alfari is still obviously Alfari. Fudge has been underperforming and whatnot. But overall, like they should both be getting a lot of credit right now, and I don't feel like anyone's talking about it. Like when I look at the Reddit threads, right, or when I take a look at Twitter. And obviously the other players on Golden Guardians, stuff is looking kind of weird. Iconic, I think it's going to be awkward to sort of evaluate them as well, because as the splits draw on and as spring starts and summer and whatnot, it's going to be interesting because junglers, it becomes increasingly more difficult to evaluate them based on how well their laners are. And that's ultimately going to be the question, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I at least appreciate the way that they've been playing. Like,
yeah.
It looks like they're at least they're not just fucking laying down and being the 10th place team that most people thought they were going to be.
Right. Agree.
Right.
Yep.
And I think that Blaze Olaf has actually been. He looks like he understands what his role within the team is going to be. Like Blaze Olaf is not going to be sitting there playing mage versus mage and trying to like out farm fucking PoE and play a better late game. Like he's going to have to be the facilitator. He's coming in kind of DeMonte-esque where he's playing things like TF, Galio, like he has that mentality of I'm going to try to help my team, get my team ahead. I'm going to be the one that's making the plays here, and we're going to have a win condition through our top laner just being good at laning and potentially having split push advantage later on. So I actually see glimpses here. I'm pretty like happy with what I saw from Golden Guardians. Like even though it's a 1-2, dude, at the end of the day, that they're getting experience, and I'm sure that they can take the games that they played. look at the footage and easily adapt it. I mean, it doesn't take a fucking genius to look at that play where it's like, we traded Dragon for Baron and top in him. Was that good? Like, they'll be able to come to like the conclusion of, okay, so when we're in this situation, like we can't overcommit on Dragon. Like that's a very like simple concept. Who needs to back? Who needs to cover the split push? And we have to like be aware of Baron taking ability throughout the game. Those are things that are easier to work on than if you just can't fucking lane. If I was Golden Guardians, there's very defined moments where they lost both games. Like the second game that they played, I forget who that was versus TSM, right? Yeah, it was versus TSM where they could have went for a free Dragon and just played for Soul and just been like pretty chill about it, but instead they just did some random 50-50 Baron and lost the game. Like maybe they were over relying on Rend being able to
help
Rend
burst
being
the
able
damage.
to burst the damage with the smite. Sure. I understand that, but it's, at the end of the day, it's just too fast of a play for the game state. They could have just relied on their Camille winning the game alone. There was no way that Huni could have laned versus the Camille at that point. And they have a Galio. So if they just lean the Galio towards the Camille, they can dive the Gnar, they can take turret versus the Gnar. There's a lot of things that they can do within that game. And you can see that like in that moment, they just completely lost control of the game that they had control of up until that point. When you look at CLG, it doesn't look like they have control of the game, even when they're like kind of winning. It's like, oh, I guess they're ahead, but it looks like they're fucking losing even when they're ahead. So I don't know. I think that it's I think that Golden Guardians should be like pretty satisfied with how they played. At least they went to LCS and they were able to play against LCS players. They didn't get shit on.
Right, and I think Golden Guardians as a team here, and Anero tweeted it out, they feel like they're the ones that benefit from this the most, from this lock-in tournament. Some people, I think all the viewers, and myself included, as a fan of League and the fan of the LCS, are like, yeah, you know, this team's trash, other than CLG, like CLG is being CLG. But I think Golden Guardians has it right, where Anero tweeted out, we hit all of our practice goals today. I'm happy. And it turned out to being a win. It's like Demacia Cup in the LPL or LCK. You have Kespa Cup as well, right? It's that preseason tournament where it's great. You get a title, and you know there's some prestige behind it. But really, this should be a fantastic learning lesson. I think Golden Guardians are fast tracking their way to being a much better team than what people anticipated with because of this tournament.
Yeah,
I
agree with that.
I'd
be happy, dude. You can't learn the whole fucking game. Like when you put a new team together, you can't learn the whole fucking game in 1 week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks or whatever. It's a process, but at least it looks like they. I mean, if an arrow's saying that, I'm pretty sure that he's not just fucking being completely facetious. It did look like what they probably drilled, which is the first 15 minutes. Like that's the easiest thing to start on when you're playing the game. And then as they progress, they'll be able to tackle more of these mid-game situations, late-game situations. They just haven't got there yet. It's like a curriculum, man. Like, they just haven't got to that point of the lesson plan.
All right, so we hit the bad team that looks bad in CLG. We hit the team with a bad record that looks good in Golden Guardians. How about a team that started off with high expectations, and then the panic button came on in, but the record looks pretty good? And they look pretty good too. Yeah, I'm talking about Cloud9. They're in the process of remembering it's just a preseason tournament, or panic that you spent $5 million on Perkz and he doesn't look great yet and he leads the league in deaths.
I hate this narrative so much. This one just makes me angry because it's like the people that fucking are criticizing Perkz just don't even know who Perkz is. They clearly just don't know what type of player he is and why he's useful. They expect Perkz to come in and just like shit on every fucking laner and be like 20 CS up. It's like, that's what they think Perkz is. Perkz is the guy that's going to fucking win you games. Like, he'll find ways to win games that are fucking unwinnable. So, and he's also somebody that scales, right? Like, Perkz just gets better and better and better. It happens every fucking time. Even when he looked bad as an AD carry last split, by the time it got to playoffs, by the time it got to Worlds, he's one of the better performing members. The idea that people like, think the perception that people have of Perkz is so far from what makes him such a special player. And that's just like, that's really fucking annoying as somebody who actually watches other leagues. You can tell that a lot of the LCS fans don't actually watch LEC and haven't watched his career to understand him as a player.
I agree with you. I agree with everything that you just said. I think a lot of people, I mean, myself included, his laning is really, really bad overall. And so I think that when people are looking at this, they're thinking, what is it that makes this person import level? Because if we only evaluate him by his laning, he's not import level. His laning is not obviously his forte, and it's noticeably weak, and it looks like it has holes. But everything that you just said is very accurate for anyone that has watched LEC for a couple of years or actually followed the games at Worlds. And so that's kind of weird because I'm trying to think of other players that it might be comparable to.
So this is what I would say. I have a
right.
player for you.
It's kind of weird. It's almost like modern. I would say it's almost like modern day Faker, almost in a way, where Faker doesn't have the most standout or insane laning phase. I mean, we can't all be Chovy with 15 CS a minute, but Faker's gonna be one of the best players in the world once the game timer hits a certain amount and he's on any champion. And you know, he's gonna be someone that you want on the team. And that's where Faker's strength comes in, is his comprehensive game understanding, and his ability to do certain things. I mean, that's where it is. He's not Chovy or Showmaker when it comes to laning phase. I mean, very few people are. Basically, no one is Chovy and Showmaker. But like,
Rookie,
you know,
maybe.
I mean, yeah,
Maybe
you're right.
yes.
Rookie. Yeah. I mean, that would be an interesting thing. I mean, Chovy is just like, Chovy's ascended pretty much compared to every other mid right now. I mean, his CSing ability, regardless of matchup, it's otherworldly. I don't recall a period in League where we've seen something
Chovy,
like this.
You beat me to it. Dom, who was your example that you had for this?
So what I was gonna say is it would be similar to if you took Duenby, right, and you put him in LEC, and then you saw that he was getting outlaned by like Larson and Humanoid, and they're like, "What the fuck? Like, why would you spend money on Duenby?
Yeah.
Like this guy can't lane versus Larson. Like Larson is just up 10, 20 CS. Like, why would you get this guy? Oh, Humanoid is just laning better than him. That's not what the purpose of the player is. Like, Perkz is somebody who knows how to fucking win the game. He's gonna win you games that other players are gonna shut down and not know what they can do in. Like, he's the person that can lead his team towards victories that other players just can't do. He's more than just a mid laner. He's somebody who's gonna fucking like captain your team. He's a real true captain that we don't have many players like.
And you look at that roster.
That's pretty much it.
You look at that roster. You got Vulcan's Venn, maybe Venn, right? He's had high highs of winning, low lows of losing multiple times, and just being so close. But then you got Perkz, Blabber. You know, very aggressive. We always call him raw, and then Fudge coming on in and talking all the shit, calling everyone brain dead, and then still
Fudge
young.
played really bad. I thought Fudge like literally botched every single one of his lanes. Like he had really weird laning phases, which was strange. I mean, the fact that he whatever, obviously you can't know without pro view, but I can just tell you that the situation that he got into versus, I think it was Impact. Yeah, it was Impact in the first game, right? EG. The fact that he's playing Ornn into Renekton Graves and the wave is stacked to that degree and he has to back off the turret and loses like 20 CS right there.
He should have died for turret.
Well, I just don't think Renekton Graves. Well, I think that you can outplay that as Ornn. Like, we've seen times with other players where if you time your W properly, combined with like a good E, flash behind the turret, and try to like cancel Graves' auto attacks by standing behind terrain, you can get away with that situation. Like, you don't have to just die there. In my opinion, you don't have to die. But the second option, dying there to get CS and get experience, is better than just backing off completely.
Yeah,
so like he went with the worst option of them, which was just back off completely, and then you're just worthless for the rest of the game.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that. I mean, the laning phase against Revenge, he was winning until he went for the greedy recall, and Revenge found him in the brush and then killed him. Mm-hmm. And then at that point, the way the matchup goes, I mean, you can't really recover. But he was winning up until that point. Which is, I mean, I guess that's good. He did end up trolling. I mean, I actually asked him in real time. I said, well, what the fuck are you doing going Gore Drinker against all range champions? Do you like healing for 0?
While he's in the
I mean,
he's
responding me right after the match, but he should have gone either Eclipse. I mean, yeah, actually, just go Eclipse on Aatrox there in that game. So a little bit of loss to Boris. But then also, I mean, why playing Aatrox is like another question.
Aatrox, man. Okay.
I mean, well, I know, yeah.
I mean, I was really appalled by a lot of the Aatrox, Aatrox counter picks. Like, the game where 100 Thieves, they ended up winning the game, but the game versus TL where they picked Aatrox into Renekton. Like, I don't understand why Renekton is just, I mean, I guess it's kind of playing into Ella's point. Like, I think Renekton is good, but I also think you can, like, counter Renekton. But, like, no one wants to counter Renekton ever. They're like, hey, I'm going to counter myself and make Renekton look super good. Like, that's their response. Like, what?
We'll get to that top lane matchup in just a sec. I wanted to put Button here on Cloud9 and I look at the team. As much as we know that we got to see the value of Perkz, or we got to hear the value of Perkz a little bit through Dom's mind, and Fudge kind of fudging things up in his LCS debut.
I mean, yeah, go.
The support role looked pretty good. Vulcan and Venn just were humming, which leads us to our tweet of the week, which comes from none other than the $1 million man. How much was Vulcan?
1.5.
1.5. They got 1.5 and a 5 mil guy. Vulcan saying, it's nice to have an off day both today and tomorrow on Saturday when they had a game. So Vulcan back in
Sunday, I think.
Mid-season form. Oh, yesterday. Mid-season form here. But of course, couldn't be outdone. Couldn't get away unscathed with Dom coming on in, and good ratio attempt here with the but you guys took all summer off. He responded, but it was pretty weak and almost ratioed back. But yeah, our tweet of the week. Thanks, Vulcan, for that one. So Cloud9, again, learning across the board here. Who do you think has the how do we feel about Blabber? I mean, we touched on every other thing, but like, what about Blabber? How did he play?
I mean, I feel like the entire top side of Cloud9 is just getting carried by bottom lane. I mean, bottom lane is just exerting so much pressure and dominance that it's really hard to blunder pretty much anything else. I think that so far, I mean, I think it's a bad look for mid, top, and jungle. Pretty much overall for Cloud9 so far.
They just really together. There was that situation where they actually panned the bot lane. It was in the Galio. I think it was like the second game they played. It was the Galio Kindred game where they walked into like a top situation. They have Galio, Camille, and Kindred, and they could have easily decided like to kill someone. I mean, Perkz goes for a taunt, and like half the team's backing off. The taunt actually lands before the parry from Fiora, and you can just tell that they're not comfortable with each other. They don't have the instinctive way where like they see what each other wants to do and they all commit on it. Where Blabber and Niski, when they were playing well in spring, they actually did have that. It was very obvious that they had the synergy of like Niski knew what Blabber wanted to do and was able to assist him every single time. The top lane doesn't have what it did before, and they don't have that built in like, yeah, we see the game in the same way. So there's obviously going to have to be discussions where they understand, they collectively just talk and try different things. Hey, who do we want to listen to in these situations? How do we want to fight around jungle? Like, what situations do we want to play aggressively? When do we want to just play passively and let our bot lane carry? Like, all those things are going to need to be ironed out.
Yeah, and that's what this tournament's for. Cloud9 sitting 2-1. They will be playing at least 2 more weeks because all teams make it to... Actually, is it 2 more weeks? No. I guess the playoffs start.
1 more week, I think.
Yeah, they'll definitely be playing 1 more week. If they do well, they'll have 2 more weeks of practice here in the Lock-In tournament. You were alluding to something here. We got onto the topic of Renekton, so I think that leads us to the top lane conundrum. There has been 93 pick and ban percentage here for Renekton, 93%. Compared to Gnar at 53%, Camille at 47%. Why is Renekton all of a sudden just being played insanely a ton? And is this right? And what is the counter? Because people keep picking Gnar and looking not the greatest. LS, I know you wanted to tee this one up. Your camera's shaking because of how fervent you're feeling right now.
The Renekton thing is really sad because I think it speaks volumes to the amount of dedication players have towards trying to get better, not just individually, but as players as well. The champion's really strong in solo queue because in solo queue, everything's like a fiesta. You're sort of on an island. It's 2v1 kills, 2v2. It's a lot more contained, right? And players don't know how to lane. But in competitive, whenever you go into the context, so I was having this conversation with a pro player from LCS yesterday, where I asked them, "Do you even know why I think Renekton's bad?" And they don't actually seem to know why. I seem to think the champ's so bad. And the question that all you have to ask is did the Renekton player do anything well, or did the opponent mess up when it leads to Renekton getting some sort of advantage? And most of the time, the opponent's fucking up. So you can say that you can account for mistakes happening, and that it's a normal thing and all this other stuff, but it's completely bullshit and completely asinine that the majority of times between elite level players or high tier pro players, when they collide, Renekton does often not get ahead. We see this at Worlds, we see it pretty much at all international events, or we actually see it anytime top teams collide and the champion gets picked. It almost never does anything. There was actually a Reddit thread that dove into the data. I remember this, even when Renekton was very prominent in China and Korea and whatnot in summer. There was a giant Reddit thread that actually went into the context of Renekton's value to the game. And it's happening again, where people are picking him and the context goes out the window. No one actually looks at what the champion's doing inside of the game. No one's actually asking the question, what the fuck is going on? And I don't know. It's almost like it's magical thinking where people think that it's good, but they can't actually tell you why, or they can't explain why. And if they do explain why, or they try to tell you why, it almost falls apart on top of itself because they're almost seeding that the opponent's blundering in some way. And that should never be a way that you should want to play if you actually think that you're better than your opponent, because there's so many more viable champions that don't have as much coin flip to them, or they don't have as much variance, or they have so much more to offer at different stages of the game. So I think it's really, really, really sad, and we're seeing it with Gnar right now too. Gnar is just, I am fully convinced he's a bottom 20 champion in the game, and yet for some unholy reason, he's just everywhere. And it makes no sense whatsoever. Literally none.
So I'm not as big on the Gnar, but I actually like Renekton for a lot of reasons, and a lot of it is
I'm getting raided by a dog. I'm really sorry.
Wait, what?
Creepo.
Oh.
Yeah. So I actually like. Oh wait, hold on. I'm watching on your stream. Let's see. Oh shit.
The Doge.
Samoyed.
Okay. Yeah. Samoyed. Yeah. All right. Sorry. Samoyed.
So
Yeah.
From my perspective, I think a lot of the junglers that are good right now, like Tali and Nidalee, benefit from having a Renekton because it just gives you that ability to kill top lane, dive top lane. It gives you a very easy way to set up ganks, and I value that pretty high. And it doesn't seem like the picks that people are playing are able to punish Renekton that hard. I mean, I don't know what the Volibear counter pick. I thought that Volibear used to destroy Renekton. Now it seems like no one's picking it. I guess the items are not as good on Volibear, but I feel like the matchup would still be fine. Then you have Kennen, Jace, all the range champions pretty much beat Renekton. But for me, if I was playing Talia, man, I would want to have a Renekton top lane. So I like the champion. Also, I think Goredrinker is just very
Moon. Sorry. Go. Sorry.
I think the ability for him to have Goredrinker and his Q just makes him way tankier, because essentially the Goredrinker allows him to go from his first empowered Q to his second empowered Q, which makes him a frontliner. So I personally I've always just been in the corner of Renekton. I think it can be beat. I don't think it's the best all the time, but from a jungle perspective, I understand why people want to be playing with Renekton. If I'm playing Talia, I want to play with Renekton. If I'm playing Nidalee, I want to play with Renekton.
Right. So this actually got me thinking, because I saw the I didn't actually see it. I mean, I heard that it happened, but apparently Spica said that Bjergsen likes Olaf. Right now, Bjergsen strikes me as someone that actually deeply thinks about the game. Right. So the idea that someone would actually like Olaf, because whenever I talk to different people, right, it's widely polarizing on if they like Olaf or they don't like Olaf. What Olaf does, if you're a laner, is he actually shores up any weaknesses that you could have, because he's oppressive, right? So ultimately what it's actually saying to me is you don't want to learn how to lane correctly. You want a jungler that removes the need to learn how to lane correctly. That's actually what just clicked in my head, is that laners don't want to fucking learn how to play. They just want a jungler to shore up that weakness. But when you see people like Showmaker or Chovy or Rookie or these other people, they can lane and you can't do anything to them, because they understand like the matchup dynamics, or like when they can be ganked or when they can't be ganked, where to stand, when to push, when to trade. Like they understand these things, right? But that is a harder skill set, and so people don't want to do it. And it just fucking dawned on me why people like these champions. It's because they don't actually want to try to get better.
What do you think about the Renekton point? What do you think?
I'm convinced that's it. Actually, for these dog awful champions, I'm convinced that's it. You don't want to actually learn how to lane as Jace. You just want to be able to slice and dice through your fucking minions and then stun someone as Renekton. You don't want to learn how to space as Gangplank or do lane manipulation. You don't want to learn how to do brush play. You just want to slice and dice through and stun someone because you're fucking lazy and you're bad.
Well, I think that there's times like where I'd rather have Renekton than Gangplank though. Like the thing about Gangplank is that with the prominence of roaming mid laners like Galio and TF, it stifles their ability to pressure the game, because when you're playing one of those champions, you want to have the ability to dive either top or bot. You want to be able to play the entire map, and if you have a Gangplank and a TF, or Gangplank and a Galio, then it makes your ability to play the game really one-dimensional. You can only play essentially through bot lane there. Like, sure, you could potentially make a Gangplank fucking Galio dive happen, but it's not as easy as if you have a Renekton to set it up. If you have
it's about ease, yes.
Sure, but I mean, I think that there's some value in being able to like enable champions that you think are strong. Like, I don't think that Renekton is necessarily the best, but if you think that Talia is one of the most broken champions in the game, which I actually think that this is true, I think they massively overbuffed Talia. The fact, like, her weakness was jungle farming. They took away her weakness of jungle farming, and now she's good at jungle farming, and she scales super fucking well. She does more DPS than any jungler in the game. She's just insane, right? So why not have a Renekton to enable your Talia to be able to carry the game? Like, why is Renekton always bad in that situation?
Are you asking me, or is it rhetorical?
Oh no, I actually think that Renekton has value in these situations.
Yeah. Dom's saying he has more value than people just being lazy and it's easier to play.
I mean, I don't think this is answerable in like this format, right? Because we would need, and when I say this format, I mean I have. So one of the reasons that I don't go on, or I don't want to normally go on talk shows, right, for like these combos anymore, is because you need context, right? Like, what spot does Renekton do something that Talia can't, right? Or not Talia, Camille.
Or Camille.
Like with hookshot or something, right? Okay, Gangplank's different, right? But it would be a different way of playing. So you can't say that Gangplank can't set up a dive onto a turret, because that's not how he's supposed to play, right? And also, it might not be how Talia wants to play in that game. So the context gets convoluted. Or you're talking about, apples and oranges. So that's where it starts to get really weird. But if let's just use Camille as an example, right? I would say Camille is better than Renekton in the majority of cases. Okay. There's probably, I would say that 9 times out of 10, the same type of play that Renekton could go for, Camille is capable with Talia, right? Like, if both players are playing very, very well. Sure, like Sinner ganks aren't going to work, right? If Talia does 3 camps and goes top lane, Renekton slices and dices stuns, Talia gets killed. Okay, yeah, Camille maybe can't do that. Depends where they are relative to the wall. Right.
So the difference would be for me, I'm just gonna, you can keep on going. I just want to respond to like that part. I think that Renekton has the ability to push the wave faster than Camille, so you can set up more forced plays with the Renekton if you want to, like, if you have a timing where you want your mid laner to rotate top with a jungler and you want to like 3-man on the turret, the fact that Renekton can actually cue the wave and kill the wave quicker allows for like that extra option over the Camille. That was pretty much all I wanted to like say in the direct interaction of those two champions.
Right. And then the question becomes, what's the mid laner? What's the game state there? And then why is that the play that you're going? You know what I mean? Like, this is where it gets weird to me. And I don't agree with the idea that the onus should be on you to force things or do things. I'm of the philosophy of planting a bomb in a room and then telling someone that it's going to go off. Like, I'm of that like school of pressure, rather the one of exerting, right? So it's two different things. And then what I often try to reference is all the different eSports or even games that operate or gravitate towards that after very long times of being around. You know what I mean? Like StarCraft, Warcraft, I guess tabletop games too. Same mindset. Eventually, things start gravitating towards that.
I'm trying to
As
grasp.
players get better and better. As players get better and better. Is what I'm trying to say.
I'm trying to grasp your school of thought in terms of pressure. So like, as in like, rather than.
So I'm more like of the idea that both can be good, but it's just situation. It's completely situational. And I think that there are situations where using the aggressive like playstyle will just be good. And I think that like the Renekton Talia thing makes sense in the context of Talia is like OP. So I think it just goes back and forth depending on like the strength of other champions in the game, and then like what those champions that are really strong are geared towards. So I guess that's just where I come down on.
Yeah, and I think that the term aggressive is actually, I think it's misunderstood, right? Why is it not considered aggressive that like, so like Dom, you're in a room right now, right? If I came there and I put down, a box and the box is going to explode in 30 seconds.
Faster. So what happens if we said faster and not aggressive? What do you think about that phrasing? Like that phrasing?
Okay, that's a more apt word, I think. I think that's a more apt word. But then, yeah, like what is the trade-offs? You play faster, and then what I would say that playing faster has higher risk. Generally. And then that makes me not want to do that. Because if I believe that I am better than you, I want the game to go longer, because then skill expression comes out more. Or that there's less variance.
And that's why I think it makes League of Legends just like such a fun game, and like why people keep on playing it is because it's really situational, right? Like if both teams are playing at the highest level, that could be the case. But what happens if you see the teams have certain weaknesses? If certain players are really bad at certain things? Like let's say you're taking a player like Fudge who's consistently mismanaging his first 3 waves. Like how valuable does the like mono red playstyle, if we're gonna allow like a fast playstyle around top lane, how does that work into a player that's not able to actually adapt to the situation and play it well? So I kind of like the idea of like it's really just situational against who you're playing against. If you're playing against Alfari, I'd be much more on the side of like somebody who's known for just being able to like manipulate lane states really well. I know he didn't do it that much this weekend, but I'm just saying historically he's been one of the best laning players like worldwide. Like he's so good at managing like the first like he's so good at managing like the first like four or 5 waves. So like versus a player like that, I'd be much less inclined. So I just feel like it's just like a time and a place.
Yes, there is. Yeah. And I for me personally, I mean, I've said many times that I just don't personally believe League is at a state where the option yet exists. I think it should always just be aired on the side of caution. Or not. Yeah, it's fine. Anyways, this was long-winded.
This was, but it's fascinating to me. Yeah. That's my whole point. Just when talking to people of varying understandings of the game, it's very easy to get hung up on words or assuming that people know what words mean when we talk about, control or lane phase or pressure or aggression, all that shit. And so watching you two, who have some of the highest understanding of the game that I know, also kind of conflict a little bit and then resolve, or at least come closer to a resolution of that terminology so that we can create context in this case is like really good.
Language is so important. And I feel like language is very damaging right now in the league, in the league sphere right now. For instance, if I say the word freeze, right? It is often synonymous with defensive play, but it shouldn't be that way. Freezing is a very offensive maneuver.
Yeah, because freezing
you're stepping on
enemy.
Right. It is actually the bomb analogy conceptualized. You're basically saying to someone, this is going to explode, do something about it. So it is an offensive maneuver under a different guise, but for some reason it's associated with defensiveness and cowardice or and I don't know why. And I also feel like the term aggression is misused.
Is it control? Like when I think freeze, I think control. Like you now
control, right? Yeah, right. Control, right? Yeah. But I think that a lot of words that like casters and analysts, and I myself was a victim of this. I think that we often use incorrect words to describe a situation, and it should be on us to be more specific with the words to tell a better story or what's actually happening.
Yeah, it's super hard to do also because like,
yeah,
even if you try to frame things perfectly with wording, like it's up to the person.
It's also hard on the fly.
And it's on the fly. That's what I was going to say too. Yeah, because I know I've thrown out crap words for situations, and I'm like, do I correct this or is the play going on to the next thing? So that's good insight. Also, just wanted to touch on this because I was looking at your stream, LS, when you were doing the LCK co-stream. You were in suit and tie, like you're casting the game. Why? What was that? Are you supposed to do that? Are those the rules? You have to co-stream?
He just wants to flex on other people like me. He sees that I have nothing in my apartment, so he just wants to flex that he actually has like suits.
What an asshole.
He's got look at him, dude. He's got like a bear behind him, a fucking Red Bull.
The dog's coming through.
Nice
Dom's dog's still in the crate getting shipped over.
Jesus Christ. Yeah.
No, the suit was just so originally, I'm in this like really weird situation right now where I was told that I was supposed to be able to co-stream, and co-streaming is like allowed, but then Riot has apparently told me through a medium, not directly, that I'm allowed to co-stream, but only if I speak Korean. And this is just really weird because like in my head, viewers and sponsors, they only care about numbers, right? And that's all that Riot wants from co-streaming data, right? It's just the numbers.
Wait, no, Riot doesn't care about you and the quality of the broadcast?
It's kind of weird. And so what I was intending to do is I was intending to cast the game. And that's why I was in suit and tie.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But I didn't end up doing that, so it's fine.
All right.
I was gonna say because we pretty much only talked about Renekton because I think that's mainly where we differ. I actually don't like Gnar at all myself because I feel like Gnar doesn't have like the advantages and kind of like doesn't scale that well either. So for me, like I just don't know what the point of him is. And also like a lot of the Gnar lanes that people pick, I don't perceive those lanes to be good for Gnar. So in LPL we see a lot of like Gnar into Camille. And Camille's always been something that I thought has been good into Gnar. That's all the information I've been getting. And I don't really see why Gnars are winning the Camille lanes so hard. When I watch the lanes, it's like, it just doesn't make sense to me. So I just wanted to, just because we were talking about Renekton and Gnar, I just wanted to give my take on Gnar where I don't really understand it that well.
No, I mean, Gnar is terrible. He is so laughably bad. And I really feel like people are on something when they tell me that he's useful in the games. I mean, I haven't found one game.
But didn't you see Huni win the game against Golden Guardians when he slapped him into the wall? It was so good. He timed his rage bar. He TPs with rage bar up. Like, what are you watching?
He was playing into Renekton that game, right? Like Gnar is supposed to be good into Renekton theoretically, but wasn't he playing into Renekton that game and he was down like 25 CS in lane or something?
I mean,
like,
it is Huni though. I mean, it's
Well, also something I want to talk about is I think Divine Sunder is like not the play all the time on Gnar. I don't know why people are so not willing to go Gore Drinker, but I think that Gore Drinker is better if you want Gnar to be like that front line.
Divine Blunder. Go ahead.
Yeah, I hate the Divine Sunder, man. I just really hate it. I just don't like it at all.
What is the play then?
Into Camille, yeah.
What is the play then in the top lane? No.
I think Gore Drinker is over. Oh,
I meant just more of what other champions should be showing up here in the top lane since everyone keeps opting in.
Oh, I mean, so Malphite beats Gnar. Like Gnar just can't play. Aurelia destroys Gnar. Camille is completely fine into Gnar, so I don't understand what's going on there. But you can also just handshake it with other champions. What?
Kennen beats Gnar. Kennen's always been like something that's been considered like a Gnar counter pick because he just pretty much outranges you and then team fights better. So
it's definitely something. I don't really know what's going on.
All right,
really don't know.
With 93% pick ban ratio here, percentage here for
dude, when do we get to flame TSM? Like, I mean, I know we got to flame Huni, but I'm swearing.
We did. LS already went in. He already went in on them. All the players are too lazy, and Bjergsen has realized it. And
No. I wasn't talking about TSM when I said players are lazy. I was talking about that generally. I wasn't referencing TSM.
I wasn't.
How could we arrive at these conclusions?
I also was just saying, just for all of us, TSM fanatics, that I wasn't hating on our Lord and Savior Bjergsen in his first season as coach. I think he quickly recognized his players were lazy, not Bjergsen's lazy.
Well, the thing about TSM that's so weird is that TSM's gameplay and their drafts are so disgustingly bad, and I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
I really don't know what's going on. I mean, they should have lost to CLG, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
TSM versus CLG, they were behind so much.
Yep.
They were behind so much, so consistent. They were getting away with murder in that game. That was something else. I have no idea what that was.
Well,
But,
I feel like
I mean-
they don't set up Spica for success at all. Like as a jungler, I go into those games. It's like, dude, if you make me play Nidalee or Talia or some shit, and my lanes are like Gnar, Orianna, and then like a relatively passive bot lane, like how the fuck do you play? Like where do you go? Like what do? You just farm your jungle until you're level 13, and you just fucking hope that you win team fights. I feel like there's no. Like he's not being factored into the drafts. It's like, okay, what junglers are good? Oh, you like Nidalee top? Okay, just pick them. Hey, what do you want to play top? It's like, where's the cohesiveness between the team? Like, why not just play one of those Dom 1 team comps? Why not just, if you're gonna play Nidalee, why not just give Huni Camille? You got Camille, Nidalee, TF, Galio, something like that. Boom. You got your pressure around topside. You can dive topside a million times. You got a team comp right there. That's what I want to see.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see something for Spica to work with, dude. As a jungler, I just feel bad. I'm like, sure, he played the first game like trash going for the Gromp and then just like killing pretty much his mid and his top laner. But in general, it's like I don't know. Like he's in
They
such
also
a
should
hard
have lost to
position.
Golden Guardians.
Yep, they should have. But I feel like it's because he's in such a bad position, he can't thrive. Like you make mistakes as a jungler when you don't know what the fuck to do. I feel like that's the biggest thing that makes junglers make these random imp plays is you don't see what the game plan is. You don't know where you're supposed to go. So you just do what you think might be good in the situation. You're like, oh shit, well I'm counter jungler. I guess I take the Gromp here. Like fuck, I can't dive top. I can't gank mid. I'm top side. Like what do I do?
Sorry. No, I mean, I think that TSM, I mean, they're laning, everything about TSM is weak. Literally everything. They're looking like they're gonna be middle of the pack. With how everything, like I don't know. Also, Haunster's on their academy team, right?
Yep, I think.
I mean, I would probably expect to actually see Haunster at some point. Like,
don't they get the same pass and not pass isn't the right word, but don't they get calculated from the same lens that Cloud9 does with Power of Evil moving on in, Huni moving on in, Sword Art moving on in? You have all these pieces moving around here for this team. Lost now filling the shoes of Double F. The only returning member is Spica. You could look at them like Golden Guardians then maybe.
No, I mean I hate this narrative that like teams who have only been together a short while can't look good. I mean, why is it then that in LCK and LPL you can mix and match players of like medium tier skill and they can clearly be a team that can at least go even with some of the top teams for a very long time. And their gameplay looks holistically so much better.
Because it's Huni. I feel like you have to play differently when you have Huni on your team.
God damn it. I mean, overall, the argument of team cohesion it has nothing to do with fundamental game understanding. It's not that you've been playing with your team for a short amount of while that makes you forget how to play laning phase.
Right.
You know? Or makes you forget how to play a team fight.
Sure. I just think that what it does is it just allows you to like play like the give and take of different situations better. So if you understand like what your teammates need or how they want to draft or what they want to play, it just allows you to be more comfortable and like be yourself. Where I feel like a lot of these players, they come into these teams and they don't want to be the guy that's like holding the team back, or they don't want to be the guy that is very defined in their play style that needs to be accommodated too. So every player, it feels like, comes into LCS and they're like, hey, I'll just do whatever like the team needs. Like I'll just do whatever like you guys want. I'll try to play that, instead of like having more of a defined approach of being honest about who they are and like what they do well and how they're going to work within the team environment. That's what I want to see, is like people being more honest with like, this is what I'm good at. This is my skill set. This is how I want to play the game. Somebody else, how do you want to play the game? They need to have those talks where they're honest with each other about their strengths or weaknesses and things like that. And then they can mix and match and figure out what the solution is to get the best performance. I just feel like that's just not being done because players don't want to have, they don't want to have their weaknesses be known
On
to
full
their teammates
display.
because it makes them feel like insecure in their position within the team. That would be my take. Like no one wants to come in and be like, hey, I'm just not that good at like playing carry comp laners. So I want to draft in this way, give me these types of champions, and like I'll do what I do well. Where I feel like the players that do that are the ones that look the best. Like I don't think that Impact joins and's like, hey dude, yeah, just give me like Bjergsen Fiora every single game. I'm just gonna carry. Like he's like, hey, if you guys want to first pick Renekton, I'm pretty good at like blind picking and doing well in like blind pick lanes. So you want to draft like a tank for me or any type of like strong laner, I can do that. I'll be solid, and he does it, and he does it well. So, yeah.
Damn. That was probably the tamest TSM flame.
That was the tamest that we could actually probably be.
Yeah. TSM fans, you get off lucky. For all of you.
Oh, by the way, his tier is totally unacceptable. As is going Grassmanorn. Go ahead. Sorry, I had to weave that one in there.
All right.
Wait, the tier, I didn't hate it that much. Like I don't know. I don't think it's like good, but it's a 400 gold fucking purchase. People make it seem like he lost his lane phase because of the tier.
It's got Sapphire.
He lost his lane phase because he fucking tried to.
He ran to
red buff that he's never gonna make it to. Where he should be able to be a good enough player to understand that even if your team is calling you, come to red, like you need to be able.
You just look there, you F key there, and you know. Yeah.
You look at the situation, you see that the red buff is 600 HP and you're in top river.
Yeah.
I can't do anything here. I'm a fucking Orin. Like I'm not playing Camille or something where I can throw a shot across the world and like secure a kill. Because he made that decision, he fucked his entire lane phase. So people tried to make it seem like, oh, he built tier, that's why he lost. It's like, no, he lost his lane phase before he even got the tier. Like he fucked himself super hard by that decision.
Yes.
So the tier to me, like, I don't think it's great. I don't hate it. I don't think it's like the thing that people should be talking about when they look at that lane phase.
Well, there's definitely a lot of other issues.
Fucking LS. Jesus Christ.
So one team that hasn't looked great, and I don't know what we can think of them, but they were second place all last year with a completely different roster, was FlyQuest. FlyQuest only had 2 games in this week.
They look the worst team.
Both without Jose Diodo. Yeah, worst team, yes?
To me, they look like the worst team. Like, I just don't see how Jose's going to come in and fix this shit. Like, it looks...
No, yeah, Fly... I mean, do we know what happened to Fly? Like, they went from Worlds, and now it looks like they're going to get 10th? Like, what is this even comparable to? I'm trying to think of, like, a... I'm actually trying to think of, like, a comparison.
LMQ dissolving. What, the picture?
No. I'm trying to think of, like, what... How is this possible?
I mean, I guess the only thing, what's a comparable thing where I mean, I guess Origin made a pretty big fucking nosedive.
LMQ, Vulcan, LMQ dissolving, Vulcan.
Is there any real life sports examples of a team winning?
I know one. It's an old school one. XDG. Do you remember Team Vulcan? I think it was called.
I just said that.
Yeah,
I just said that.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. So they went Worlds to fucking XDG was 10th. So they actually went Worlds to relegated like pretty fucking quick with essentially the same fucking roster. That was crazy. Griffin. Oh yeah, Griffin. Griffin did.
Oh, Griffin's another good one. Yeah. Griffin. True. Yeah, but they kept some of the same play. Well, yeah, I mean, it was a nosedive, yeah.
It was a nosedive. That's what you asked. A good example of this in traditional sports, LS, is any team that is, or I guess most teams that go to the Super Bowl and lose the next season don't make playoffs. So, like, even though they were the second best team in football, if they go to the Super Bowl and lose, they don't make playoffs the next season. That's a
really?
Yeah, that's an example. That's normally.
I remember I was really pissed. I used to be a huge baseball fan. Well, I was a baseball player. I didn't actually like watching that much. My favorite team was the Marlins. Growing up, '97, they won the World Championship, and then they just sold the whole fucking team. And then we were just
Josh
again after
Beckett.
It.
Was it Josh Beckett? I think that was Josh Beckett.
Yeah, and Craig Counsell.
Holy cow! Sorry, LS. All right, we'll bring it back.
You got to be a boomer to know that, dude. I was 7 then. This was 23 years ago. I was 7.
You're old.
Fuck. You're older than me. Shut the fuck up. I don't want to hear it. You're fucking old.
I'm dead. Griffin disappeared like that. LS, what are you looking up right
Oh,
now?
I put the water next to my computer and it's just hot.
Are you looking up
I'm
Craig console?
I'm looking up.
Falcons.
Trying to get it.
Yes, the Falcons, 28-3, and then disappearing. Yep. That's a good one.
We're good.
Okay.
I thought there was something in baseball.
A team that won and then immediately.
The what? Yeah, that won the World Series and then bombed. I guess not, though. I guess not.
I mean, but I will say in most sports cases, that is kind of what we're seeing here with FlyQuest. Compared to all the other ones that we kind of brought up in esports, all the other ones, like, teams went to trash. Maybe not Griffin, but, like, the XDG, what else? Like Splice, the teams that make it to Worlds and then just disappear. With sports, it's because of mismanagement, or it was specifically for that run. It's like, hey, we spent all of our money here. These contracts are bloated and shit, and we're going to owe so much money, and we have to cut players, right? That's kind of what happened with FlyQuest here, with being an NBA-owned franchise and then having to spend smarter. Like, their best pickup, I think, in the preseason was probably Licorice, right? Like, Licorice coming onto the team was like, whoa, holy shit, they were able to pull that off. But you look at everyone else, and you're looking at value type players. I wouldn't say budget bin type players, but value type players. Like Palafox has been in Academy for who knows how, since Academy was created, before it was even Academy. So, like, you had to go value wise there, and that's the kind of same thing that happened with Griffin with mismanagement, XD, mismanagement for LMQ. So this is kind of more of one of our first, like, direct to sports of analogies here.
Okay.
So
that makes sense.
The issues here are can we grade Licorice because he has Nixie NXI as his jungler right now? Because
I mean, he lost Fiora versus Camille. I mean, that's pretty egregious. You know, I think that was pretty bad. I mean, other laning performances that he's had, even individually, it doesn't look that good.
Didn't their bot lane like level fucking 1? Like, they just walked up and killed themselves.
There's been some pretty interesting bot lane things that have happened so far here, but
that was the right game. Wait, was this the game? Is this the right game, or was that FBI walking up at level? Maybe he died level 2. Maybe Johnson died level 2. But Jesus fucking Christ, man! Like, some of these early lane phase bot lane, like, you can tell who's been practicing throughout the offseason and who hasn't. Like, I don't know. You watch CoreJJ play lane phases, you can tell he played to improve, and it's crazy that the player that is potentially the best player in the league tries the hardest to improve in the offseason when he could just, like, kind of sit back and get paid and, like, not have to worry. Just shows difference in mindset.
Yeah.
Also, point in career. Like, I would say that majority of the players in the LCS have the desire to, maybe not the discipline, maybe not the experience to know how to, but, like, yeah, CoreJJ realizing, for me, it's getting reps in, it's being on top of the meta, and this is how I get on top of the meta by... I've
never seen a player improve like CoreJJ's improved. Like, I've never seen a player, because I played against CoreJJ when I was a pro, right? Like, he was an AD carry for Dignitas, and when I played against him, I would have never guessed that he was going to be the player that was going to just become world class. Like, it never felt like you normally can see the glimpses of somebody, like, being top tier when they come in, right? You look at Caps, you look at Perkz. When they started, they're already, like, dominant. It's rarely you see a player come in and be like one of the bottom tier in, like, a lower league and then become one of the best players in the world of their position. Like, it's fucking crazy. I've never seen consistent improvement like that. Was Chovy bottom tier? I felt like
Chovy was like middle bottom, but also, I mean, the level that Chovy has risen to, I mean, he might be the best, you know, like, overall. That's phenomenal, I think, because it happened over 4 years. You know?
Yeah. I mean, I felt like when Chovy came in, when he came in with Griffin, like, I felt like Griffin.
He came in with initial Griffin, and he was a sub for Rather. And he kept playing Zoe, I think. But he was just middle of the pack. He was like middle bottom.
Yeah.
And then he started going up.
Chat, let us know, like, who else had that level of meteoric Meteoric? Is that the right word? Meteoric growth?
Well, he sort of fell off a cliff, but Hybrid and LCK. Hybrid was like literally Challenger Series level player for so long, never did anything, and then somehow in spring LCK 2020, he was like arguably the best AD carry. It was really weird. But then he just nosedived. I don't know what happens when stuff like that goes on.
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah, got a lot of
I just assume that it's
here.
like, yeah, it has to be some type of like confidence or. Yeah,
It's something.
Like
It's
like,
definitely something. Yeah. A lot of people in chat right now are saying Ghost, but no.
Yeah, they're saying
Ghost fulfills a really, really, really specific role for Damwon, but you would not draft Ghost early on in any draft if you were making a team.
I feel like Ghost is super overrated, personally. Like, because people, I mean, I don't think he's bad because overrated has this negative connotation.
Yeah,
but people say that he's like one of the best AD carries. In the world and I just hate that, man. I really hate it.
Gumayushi, chat is spamming Gumayushi. Dude, Gumayushi is he's something.
He's really solid.
He's something.
He's a fucking freak.
Let's see what else. There was Huni, Rainover, thrown out there. Kana. Yeah.
I mean, I'm just talking about like the period of time for CoreJJ, man. Like he keeps on getting better and better and better, and it's been like from being one of like the worst players in a lower league to being one of the best players in the world that's crazy. That's because I mean being middle pack in LCK is still like pretty fucking good, right? Being one of the worst players in Dignitas is like, I mean, yeah, it's not
being middle of the pack in LCK probably makes you one of the best players in NA.
True.
Like that's just the
truth. Yeah.
You're probably top 2 or something.
Let's reel this back into FlyQuest, and then we can get over to TL and 100 Thieves to close out our group talk. But like with FlyQuest, what any shimmer of hope here from what we've seen in their first 2 matches?
I mean, they've just gotten obliterated every time.
Yeah, they did.
I feel like there was like nothing to take away. Like hopefully it's just 2 bad games and it's not that indicative. I mean, I do have like faith in some of their players. Like I don't think Palafox is a bad player. I've always thought Johnson has been pretty good.
You're high on the Johnson
train. I think Licorice would be stable. Like, so I just feel like it should be better than it looked, but I mean, it was a really awful performance. I don't know. There's nothing you can like you can't watch those games and be like, oh, well, they at least did this pretty well. They did nothing that well in those games. They just got shit on.
Yep.
Brutal.
All right. Well, there you have it from our experts. FlyQuest, hopefully chalking this one up, and we'll give them a mulligan because they've been able to pull it off before. Do we want to touch on Dignitas and Immortals before we hop into 100 Thieves and Liquid?
I'm fine with it. I got time.
Wait, I mean, go ahead.
I think it'll be pretty quick, right?
Yeah, all right. Immortals running.
I'm gonna go to the bathroom. Here we go. Here I'm talking about it. And I'm about to see it again. So.
What the fuck? You're about to see it again?
Oh no.
Damn.
All right, so Immortals, they are able to. Who did Immortals beat? I forgot.
Immortals
beat FlyQuest.
Wait. Oh yeah.
Yeah, Immortals beat FlyQuest.
I mean, I think Revenge looks good, man. I think the rest of the team doesn't look that good, but Revenge looks good. Joey, I like his mentality, but he runs it down so fucking hard. Like he ran it down so hard in so many different ways. It was crazy. But I take it.
So for context, everyone, just in case you haven't been watching League forever, Joey actually played support for the winningest player in LCS history and arguably one of the best AD carries of all time for Double Lift over at MSI when Team Liquid went to MSI. He was a sub when Ole was
quit. He just quit in the middle of MSI.
Yeah,
I love it.
And so Joey's been around for a while, been in Team Liquid Academy for a long time. I met him back in 2015, maybe 2016. So he's been in the scene for a while, just has not been able to get stage games. I think he was on CLG for a little bit.
But TL Academy.
TL Academy. He's just been floating around for a while now, especially in the amateur scene. And then he's going to be on Immortal Academy's roster. But just, he was having some
reminds
solid
me of, like-
engages for
Hello,
for
hello.
Cloud9. Hello.
So I was gonna say that Joey reminds me of Hillsong.
Yeah.
Outside of like the good plays that Hillsong makes, like Hillsong like runs it down, or he makes like these insane plays. Like if you took away every good play Hillsong makes, that's how Joey looks. Where he just like runs it down like in crazy ways, but it's kind of entertaining. Honestly, I like it.
Yeah. So again, that bot lane a little temporary right now, waiting for Destiny and Raze to roll on in here, and then Insanity, still that core piece. But how much can we judge knowing how many pieces around him are missing?
I don't know, man. I think like the only takeaway I have here, because the team's playing with 3 subs, right, is that Revenge actually looks solid. Like his early lane phase looks really good. So I was impressed with Revenge. That's my main takeaway from Immortals.
Yep. I mean, Revenge has been laning really, really, really well overall, but everything else on the team. This honestly, this has me a little bit worried for some of the bottom standing teams, in the sense that I don't know what their game plan is, because some of these rosters, even after the subs, get moved out or whatnot, this is looking like it might be one of the lowest quality LCS splits. Does that make sense? Am I saying this right?
I think at least from the bot, like overall, if you look at all the teams, sure. That I agree with that. Like if you average the skill of every single team, then it would probably be lower than.
Wait a minute, is this the most amount of North Americans that we've also had playing in the tournament?
Okay, you didn't have to bring it there. There's not necessarily correlation. Causation does not equal correlation, LS. Let me just tell you.
I mean, I thought something looked bad.
LS, you're in like mid-season form too. You've had some really good funny ones.
Oh man,
I had no idea what you're talking about when you went to the bathroom until you dropped the joke. That was really good setup. So same with this one. I'm just upset with you right now. All right. Well, yeah, that's Immortals. Just in case you didn't know, Revenge was a doctor. Dignitas. Dignitas is here.
Wait, did you hear that he went to med school though?
Who? Revenge?
Revenge was gonna go to med school.
Hey, he was gonna be a doctor, and then he paused. Dude, whatever happened to Cali Trolls? Did he ever end up becoming a pharmacist?
Cali Trolls is a pharmacist. Yes.
Yeah,
really?
He's a pharmacist. Yeah.
Did he ever tweet anymore?
I don't think so.
I talked to him a couple times. He was the homie.
Did you know that? So, like, when we're talking about lost prospects, or lost junglers, right? I think last time, or lost players of the past, we talked about Omar God. I think I brought up Omar God. He when he moved on to be a doctor, computer scientist, whatever, he was a smart kid. He changed his Twitter to just Omar, or just call me Omar or something, and now that's gone too. So he tried to create a social presence after playing, and then just deleted the social presence. Can't find him.
Yeah, wasn't he like for
Omar
Stony
God?
Brook?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought he's for Stony Brook now.
Is he? Is he back?
I don't know, man. I have no idea. Maybe I completely made that up.
Just whatever we don't know, they just show up in Stony Brook. We'll just start doing that from here on out to give the collegiate scene some love.
Sometimes some of the trajectories that some players take that are North American are just so weird and strange, and I just don't know what to make of it.
What do you mean? Not everyone's going to be a pro forever, or like transition to another game, or get to live in a gaming house.
I feel like some of them don't give it like the chance. Like they felt like Omar God just randomly got thrown into early, and to me, I'm just like, okay, if you wanted to commit to this, like why not give it like a couple years, right? You got into LCS in your first split because of Dardoch going Dardoch. So then you go into Academy. Why not just like play out the year in Academy and just see what happens? Like it's still just like one gap here. I don't know. I feel like we're young, right? Like you could go to college at any point, and if you've already shown promise and you could potentially be good, why not see it out? I mean, it's something that has a lot of potential to be lucrative. So
Right.
Because it's insanely stressful. Look how fucked up you guys are.
Well, I mean, so for me, when it comes to esports, I mean, I'll probably talk about this in the Origin video that I'm doing with T1 later. But for me,
ad.
What?
T1 hashtag T1.
What?
Hashtag ad.
Oh, hashtag T1. True.
Hashtag T1 fighting.
But the the thing for me in esports that I guess I can't relate to a lot of people on is like, for me, it's never been about like what game am I gonna play or like other stuff. It's just that it's the only thing I'm going to do, and it's all I want to do. I don't know how to explain it. Like, the idea of like leaving esports or not being a part of it, the thought never even crosses my mind ever. Like in some facet, What?
It crosses my mind.
Really?
Yeah. I think about like, is it like actually making me happy? Would I be happier doing something else? And then the other thing is like, I like doing different things and like trying to, you know, like, so I've been thinking about like, what would happen if I stopped doing streaming, stopped doing like esports content? What would happen if I just like tried to get like heavy into the stock market?
Don't do that, everyone.
Like,
you better start tuning in. This is it. Dom's thinking about doing it. It's all over. These are rare episodes.
Are you really considering leaving?
It's not like I'm heavily considering. Like I'm planning on doing it soon, but it's something that I definitely think about. I'm like, what else would I do? What do I want to do? What do I think will bring me like fulfillment? What are things that I want to explore? What other things do I think I'll be good at? I feel like those things are always like going through my mind.
I think about that.
So I mean, for me, I mean, I was 12 years old setting my alarm clocks for 3 and 4 a.m. watching Pro League, which is the equivalent of LCK. And I would get in trouble. I would steal routers and modems because my family would take them away. And then I would get routers and modems because I just wanted to play the game and then like watch StarCraft and watch esports and stuff. And then I tried to come to Korea when I was 15 and then again at 16, and I couldn't because obviously I needed permission, passport, and everything, you know, and I just couldn't do it. But then once I got to Korea, obviously I mean, I've game hopped right across multiple titles and stuff, and the thought never crosses my mind about like leaving esports or not being involved with games in some way. Now, I will say though that I consider the stock market to be a game, right?
Yes.
So,
and it's a fun, and like that's the same way I view
that is a game. So it's like, you know, if I wasn't doing these type of games, yes, I mean something like poker or something like stock market or something like you know, real estate and stuff like flipping, right? Like stuff like that becomes interesting to me.
That's something. That's exactly something.
Auctions become interesting to me. Like it's you know, so prior to the whole big Pokemon craze, right, that blew up recently, I've been involved in the card collectibles for like a long time. Like Magic the Gathering. I have several Black Lotuses.
You
know, and like I was telling so many people about it in 2016, 2017. You know, and yeah, I don't know. Like stuff like that's always fascinating to me. I consider those to be games.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think that I would do another esport. At least that's my mentality now. Is I think that like the only esport I want to do is League of Legends, and I guess part of the reason why I've like thought about this is because I think that I think that somebody within Riot really dislikes me when I look at like the fact that I've been banned multiple times, and then I like reflect on how do I behave on stream. Like when I look at my co-stream ban, I reflect on how I behave on stream compared to other content creators. What was the bannable thing about me? I compare myself to other people that are in LPP, like Jasmina, your princess, etc. And I'm like, what makes me so much worse than them? Why am I getting such harsh punishment compared to them? And when I factor those things in, it just like doesn't make sense. So that's part of the reason why I'm like, do I want to fully invest myself into something where people are somebody behind the scenes and somebody in presumably a position of power has it out for me? Like, do I want to invest myself in something where I'm just going to keep on getting fun? Like, what happens if in 6 months I apply for LPP again and I feel like I've been pretty above board with everything? I don't think that I'm like, people like to frame me as insanely toxic. If you watch my streams, if you watch my YouTube videos, I don't think that I act in a way that shouldn't be possible to be partnered with, and I compare myself to other creators that are in LPP. What happens if in 6 months they tell me again, hey, we actually don't want to bring you back into LPP, we don't want to give your co-streaming rights back, we're just going to like distance ourselves from you? What happens if that happens? Like, do I want to continue investing time and just constantly be at a disadvantage to my competitors, you know?
Yeah, I mean that's a really scary weight. And I mean I've been banned before. Team Liquid, which was the StarCraft hub, you know, I used to be banned by it, and then even after I got unbanned, I was treated like a second class person. Like they wouldn't feature the stream, and that like Twitch wasn't big back then, right? So it was important to like be on the the side panel, that says that you're live.
Yeah.
And they wouldn't give that feature to me, and like a bunch of other stuff. And so that stuff is really bad. I used to think I might play StarCraft 3 or Warcraft 4 if it ever came out, but then I just thought about it more, and I don't think I'm ever really leaving Riot in a weird way, because like League is sort of my family in a way, and I think I would feel weird. And I know that a lot of people don't hold that stance, but I do. Like, because League saved my life. I mean, I was actually homeless. League and Twitch saved my life, so that's important to me. And I mean, now we know about the MMO, right? And who knows? I mean, can make content with the MMO? I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'll be playing the MMO.
Probably.
4 years, 5 years.
I'll play it.
I very much. I hope that everyone watching, and if you watch this in the VOD later, like, I hope you appreciate how in depth that both these guys went in their personal journeys here, just because those were all the same thoughts that I felt, when I, made it to the mecca of Riot, and then it was over for me within 3 to 6 months, not of my own volition. And then same thing with Golden Guardians, and then getting booted out and not having a place to stay. So like with a week to find a place to stay, like those are all the same considerations. And I think that's why when you see players that like do other things like pre-med, or, like Cali Trolls that go into pharmacy, or those things, those are considerations they have and aren't as resilient, or maybe not. And maybe, let me take that back. Maybe not resilient, but don't want to go down that path, right? Because they understand like where it could lead to. So, I all this came from freaking Omar God. I don't know. My bad.
Yeah, I mean, it leads to.
But this was really good.
Who needs laning phase?
Yeah.
But that's like an interesting thing to think about, right? Because like the way that LS frames it is like that League of Legends is his family, but I feel like the viewers and those people, like those are the people that I want to entertain. I want to be able to be somebody that can like create content for them.
Yeah.
And make their experience, like my goal when I do all these shows is like I want to make people enjoy LCS and like LEC and watching Pro League as much as I like it. Like I try to explain things that I see, what I enjoy about it, like why it's interesting to me, why it's something that I dedicated my life to, and I want to share that with like other people. But if the people that control that entire ecosystem are against me, how can I really do that? That's essentially what the decision comes down to, like in my head. So I guess it just has to go through how my relationship with the company progresses.
Yep. Well,
I just wanted to like close it off because I kind of like left it open ended.
Yeah. Hashtag freedom, which also is freedom, but we'll get it trending. Guys, I'm starting to run out of time here because I have a test that I need.
We got segued here.
We did get segued, but it was really good. Yeah. Also, we didn't have an episode for like 3 months, and a lot of shit went down. Dom moved. You disappeared for a little while, rightfully so.
I got moved around,
But yeah, I think I want to hit like 100 Thieves and TL, but I don't want to half-ass it and hit it. So I think, what do you think? Is it better to end it now or just quick touch on them?
I mean, I don't think we have to touch on it too much. I mean,
just quick.
Okay.
God.
TL 100 Thieves. So TL, obviously, without Santorin. Armal, I guess, actually called Armeo. Armeo?
Armeo.
I mean, this is one of the worst rebrands, by the way. Again, I think I was talking about this with Nemesis, dude. Some people have the worst IDs ever, and I have no idea what they're thinking.
Like I will dominate. Like, holy fuck.
Like Last Shadow, dude. What the fuck was wrong with that
How
kid?
cringe are we?
What's the 9? What's the 9? What's the 9? What's the 9 in Last Shadow 9?
September.
Okay.
Holy. Okay. All right. Nice.
Obviously.
It's my birth month. What?
Okay. Yes. All right. So yeah, what were those guys
All
thinking?
Right, D-Gon.
At least that made sense.
Yeah, whatever.
That's my name. That's literally
You're
my
named
name.
after a fucking Tekken character. You're literally named after a little dinosaur that's
There's
like
a
secret
Tekken
character
named
Oh,
D-Gon?
gone. Well, gone.
All right, get out of
But,
here. All right,
you know,
Armal, I really got to keep us on here. Team Liquid, the thoughts on Team Liquid, and I guess Alfari. We kind of gave him a pass a little bit, and not pass, but like hey, he looked somewhat the part.
Yeah, I mean, well, I think Greg didn't play that well. Our Mayo, whatever. He's Greg to me. I mean, He had the same name for 6 years, so I feel like he didn't play that well. I think Santorin's going to be a big upgrade, and man, you can just see that CoreJJ and Tactical they want fucking blood, dude. They come into lane and they just kill everyone level 1 and level 2. It's like, damn, like these people don't even deserve to be in the same league as those two guys. Like, we should have a separate league for Sven Vulcan and then Tactical CoreJJ, and then other people should just not even get to like compete. The other people should just fight amongst themselves, and then those guys should just
they're just ringers. They just like swap whatever team. Yeah, we draft these two.
They're so fucking good.
The 100 Thieves TL game, the crazy TPs, ridiculousness in the bot lane, sloppiness. That's sloppiness, right? That wasn't just like, wow, look at that top tier play. I'm sure Jensen meant to TP with no mana. and
flash forward with no mana.
Yeah. That was pretty funny.
That's just a Cassio thing. Like, Cassio's not a champion until you have tier. Like, you just can't try to kill people. I mean, there was like a world where Cassio used to be able to just all in everyone level 1. Like, you just start eating, you all at everyone level 1, and then they changed how Cassio works, reduce damage, increase mana, whatever. And now you just have to like farm their lane until you have tier, and then you can like actually play the game from there.
Yeah.
So he TP'd bot without a tier. You saw what happened.
Tried to get Nado off, didn't work out. The other side of that matchup was 100 Thieves, where they took down TL, and they look good, right? This is a team that, although shifted,
they weren't losing to CLG
players. Yeah, they literally lose to CLG. They got jinxed. This is a team that, although new rebrand, it's 4 players. It's almost like they only swapped 1 player, right? With Someday coming in, and that 1 player that you're swapping is one of the best, quote unquote, in the league. So 100 Thieves, they look like what they're supposed to, right?
Yep. I just think that they have a cap because Demonte is like Demonte does what he does well, but you can't tell me that he's ever going to be the type of player where you put him on like Syndra, Orianna, Azir against PoE, Jensen, Perkz, and he's just going to be able to outplay them mage versus mage. Like, that's just not his play style. So I feel like the game that 100 Thieves lost was really just showed how the team needs to play. Like, when the team plays roaming mid laners, like Galio, TF, whatever, they play roaming mid laners and they play around closer, they're able to dive Sunday's lane, and they're active, they're going to look good. When they're playing the control mage style, like the more slow style, I don't think they're going to look good. So for me, it just, I don't see that changing because Demonte's existed within the league so much. I think Demonte's strength is finding like weird counter picks and knowing how he can affect the game without getting baited into like playing meta versus meta. So yeah, I think that kind of limits you in a way, but doesn't mean that they can't be a top 3 team.
LS?
I mean, I think that the thing is for some of these teams, I mean, yeah, TL will probably end up regardless at the top of the standings. 100 Thieves is also, I mean, pretty interesting. I mean, I guess 100 Thieves, it's going to be the same thing. They can end up higher up as well. But the concerning thing to me is I don't really care where any of these teams placed, first, second, or third. What I care about is what's going to happen in 9 months at Worlds. Mm-hmm. And if any of like the drafting and approach to the gameplay that we're seeing right now, and yes, it's only been 3 days, but I don't care, continues to just remain, nothing's different. What's different? We're just waiting 9 months, and I don't know. Nothing's gonna happen again. It's getting sad. Because now I was just having this conversation before we filmed this episode. Now it's getting repetitive. Europe doesn't get repetitive. Europe has innovation. Europe has turnover within teams. Europe has like new players that like actually consistently rise up and actually challenge like top tier players and whatnot. And Europe just sort of got hit. They just lost 2 of their S tier players. In a way. And yes, they have a lot of talent coming up and whatnot. But for North America, this is a really dangerous year. It's, I don't know. I'm like talking about teams placements is, yeah, God, sorry.
I mean, I was just going to say that I think that the top 2 teams, TL and C9, or like the projected top 2 teams, I should say, should theoretically have more upside. Like when you looked at TL last year, they were really one-dimensional from a gameplay standpoint. And because of the players they had, it really just limited what they could do. I mean, even Impact is limited in one way or another. So when you're able to take like the good parts of their team and you combine it with Santorin, who's pretty versatile, pretty good, and then you have Alfari, who is just one of the best laning top players. Like I think that could be a recipe to not necessarily like get semifinals of Worlds or anything, but I feel like that is a better chance of getting out of groups at least. So yeah. I think the pieces we have are just even if things don't change, I think that the combinations of players that we have together should give us a better shot when we get to the international tournaments. Like FlyQuest, you knew that team was going to be doomed from the start. TL looked pretty doomed in their approach. They were super, super slow. I don't feel like they'll be as slow with this roster. And then TSM was like a team on its last leg that just did whatever it took to get there. So I just think that player-wise, there should be more of an option, even if like drafts and stuff remain not optimal.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, Ellis, but your statement to me felt like you're talking about just the player NA player base in general, not like our 3 teams. Like when you're saying, hey, S tier.
Well, I mean in general overall, but I mean, and NA, yeah. Like the thing is that the top 3 teams. Ooh, my earphones came out. Sorry, I can't hear. The top 3 teams is less important to me if they all just continue to do the same things over and over with very little diversity, because it feels like things are not going to look up and very bright, and there's a bitterness to it because I mean everyone knows, right? NA actually has the most money and they have the best infrastructure in terms of like support for team. Do you know what I mean? Like the team houses, the facilities, how many different staff members they have, and everything. No region in the world has this except maybe LPL, but only then for some teams, I think, in LPL. Obviously, in Korea, I mean, there's T1 and there's Gen G, which have insane facilities. Hanwha Life, I think, is very good. But like I'm saying comparable to like a North American org. By the way, I'm just for reference. I'm not saying yeah. There's only like 3 or 4 Korean orgs that have it, and T1 just got it like within the last year. Gen G as well. Before, I mean, money. Before you had 10 Koreans living in an apartment smaller than mine, showing up to Worlds and butt blasting everyone. You know, like, and you have North American players with giant multi-million-dollar facilities and giant houses and chefs and cooks and managers who do everything at their beck and call, and nothing happens. There's like a there's something sad about it that I think actually affects viewing experiences. Or at least for me it does.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. It's just depressing to you. Oh shit.
It is. It's very, I mean, I don't know.
Well, very important.
I mean, I think there's like, we've talked about other factors before, but obviously like that can only get you so far when you don't have the player base, you don't have like the thing to practice on, you don't have the like fire underneath you to improve. But hopefully we're moving in the right directions with some people getting like new shots. I'm happy that instead of having like Solo and Hanser, we have Niles and Revenge at least. You know, I want to at least cycle through and see what we really have out there, because it's been so hard to actually break in to this like league from an academy level that I feel like we might have been shooting ourselves in the foot for a while.
Yeah.
The other really weird thing is like these false narratives that are created by the public, right? Like Solo ended up on CLG, but there was a lot of people that are like, why is he on a better NA team? Man, Solo is not good. What? Like what? Why are people calling for someone to be on the team? No, man. Like, so obviously I'm echoing your statement. We have Niles and Revenge, and we have other players that are starting to come up and whatnot. That are new and that haven't been around for 7 years and clearly do not like. I don't know. I have nothing nice to say. I'm just gonna stop.
Yeah, I think that is a good place to stop. So that's where we're going to stop for our first episode. We went all over the place. Okay. This was great, man. Yeah. This was a long one, a banger. So again, as we hit at the top of the show, we are moving the YouTube home for Facecheck to Venn eSports, which is the YouTube channel. So I'll show you guys here. Hello, chat. Say hello. you can go to bit.ly/Venn eSports, and that'll bring you to the YouTube channel where you can go hit that like and subscribe. We talk about a bunch of different stuff. I do a lot of the talking there, but definitely the rest of the episodes for this upcoming season of Facecheck will be here. Give us a like, give us a follow. Help us hit some of our watch goals that we have for me, Dom, and LS. That would be very useful. We appreciate all of you guys. Banger of a first episode, everybody. Final thoughts before we close it out. LS, you go first.
Moonstaff's the future. Go ahead, Dom.
We had a slide ready for that, everybody. I promise. We'll get to Groomstaff later. Dom?
Jesus fuck. Let me coach him again so I'm not 2K Andy. Thank you. That's it.
There you go. He's a 2K Texas Andy. Thank you, everyone, for watching. We'll catch you guys next week for the next episode of Facecheck. We'll see you then.
Hey, thanks for watching Venn eSports. Make sure to hit that subscribe button below and explore the other videos. In fact, click on the videos that are on the screen right here. They're right here. Click on them.